Hello, beautiful special beings. It's Reagan here, and in this video, I want to share with you a very empowering and exciting, fun message because it's about creation, and it's some things that I've recently been learning and connecting and experiencing, and I think it can be very, very helpful for many. So, I talk about creation a lot because it's really incredible the more you know, and truly know, the more you can know that you are creating your reality from the inside out. And the more you can begin to make the unconscious conscious, because then you can begin to tap into yourself from a way higher perspective. And you can begin to really heal yourself and maybe any areas of your life that maybe you've been stuck in programs of, whether you realize it or not, of self-sabotage. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that. It's good that we have compassion for ourselves in these times, because the programming we've been through in this life and inundated with since we were born is extreme. It's extreme. The television, the magazines, the school, I go on and on. We all know that, all of the systems of the Matrix and what they do. And the higher in perspective you go, the more you see that they're really clever and none of it's really an accident. And that being said, perhaps one of the most clever tricks they ever played, from what I see right now, is over time, unconsciously, unwittingly, pretty much convincing creator beings that there's no choice in what they're doing, and tricking them into never being present in the moment. This is an aspect of mind control, because everything we create is in the present moment. Everything. The present moment, your now, is the most powerful, magnetic, magical point you could ever be in. And in fact, it's the only point you'll ever be in, but you could ever be separated from it, ever. And yet, we have these habits, again, whether they're conscious or unconscious, of constantly looping into the past and into the future, into the past, into the future, and so on, into these rabbit holes. A lot of times without even realizing it. And this is the beauty once you realize it, because then you can step out of it and you become more aware, and you can really begin to upgrade your experience, because all creation comes from the now moment. I really want to elaborate on this because when you're really able to be present in your now and just surrender to what is and just be, and practice being able to stay in your now, it's not that you can't think of the past or future and do those kinds of things, but you're doing it consciously. It's not like, an unconscious process. Because a lot of times when we revisit the past and the future, it's almost always out of fear or trauma-based response, but I'll get more into that later. But I want to talk about creation in the quantum field, because I've been having the most amazing, what people call downloads, and I think that is such an amazing and cute word for divine revelations, especially in our time, downloads, because it is like that, it is like that. It is like all of a sudden you just receive this information and it changes your life. And these are accessible to us all the time, now, in our now moment. We have to be present. We have to be paying attention to our now moment, because nothing in your now moment is there by accident. Whether you like it or not, whether it's comfortable or not, it's a medium for you to, spring into what you want to create in this reality, even if it doesn't seem like that, because that's the trick. And I was deeply reminded of this, and it was so grateful to be, that if you're resisting your now moment, you're putting yourself in a place where you're just going to keep creating more now moments that you are resisting. In other words, you're pretty much broadcasting in the quantum field, so we're always standing in the quantum field. Pretty much broadcasting in quantum field, like, I want to create more, resistance. I want to create more resistance. I'm feeling resistance. I want to create more resistance. And resistance is just, trying to hold on, like trying to ignore or suppress what happens. And a lot of this is subconscious. So it's like, if you, get in an argument with someone, or, I don't know, something's frustrating you, or something's grieving you, or, you don't feel like you're not worthy, or you're not going to be successful, or you're not going to accomplish this, or you had some kind of setback, whatever the case may be. All these things, these are all parts of the human journey. There's nothing wrong with it. We're coming out of duality. We're still in this matrix. We're multidimensional. This is part of being multidimensional, and being in the third dimension where there's linear time still, and also being in the 5D, the quantum realm, where time is not linear, and you can literally travel, and you can literally play with your timelines, and this is how sovereign beings create. So it's not that when you feel those things you're not in the present moment. It's when you feel those things and you resist, and you're like, oh, I shouldn't feel that. And that's part of the mind control. That's part of what we've been taught and programmed with. Many of us have, again, mostly subconsciously, of like, oh, I shouldn't feel that. I'm not supposed to feel sad. I'm not supposed to feel angry. I'm not supposed to feel fear. There's something wrong with me. Like, these are, and it's everyone's different, but when you really come back to the present moment, when you're feeling that, even the uncomfortable stuff, and again, you have to be brave and bold to do this, just so you know, this isn't for the faint of heart. This is for those who really are ready to awaken and face themselves. But I promise you it's worth it, and it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. I've talked about this in many videos, when you can come back to the present moment and just let go and just surrender and just feel. And again, you don't have to run every story, every narrative in your mind, because the mind is the tricky part. The mind is the one that's going to want to hook in to those emotions. And that's when you can play these games with yourself of running these stories and these narratives. You're a creator being. You're a creator being. This is linear, and this is going back into the past. Like, oh, I've never been good with money. Like, oh, I always do this. Like, oh, I've struggled with this my whole life. I'm going to keep struggling with it. Those are those past. You're not being in your now. You can't change that past, at least not at this point, because we're still in linear time. But you can't change that. And the future isn't even here yet in your now. In your now is where you can literally transform. And you can burn off all those old parts of your personality you don't want anymore. And burn off all those traumas that you've carried around. Again, if you're being triggered by something, that's it. That's an opportunity for that trauma to come out of your body. So you don't have to resist it. That's what I do. I get to a point as soon as I can when I feel something come up now. I usually go and just sit down because it's easier for me, and I close my eyes and I just feel it, and I just feel it in its entirety. I just surrender. I just feel that emotion and I let it come out of me. And I usually learn something from it, and then it's done. I've talked about this before. So that's the beauty of the present moment. When you're feeling resistance, come back to the present moment. And breathe and feel and breathe and heal. It's really amazing that we're designed for that to come out. It's when we hold on, and it's when we cling to it in our minds that it really lingers, and we start to, continue in this self-sabotaging paradigm, which is a choice. You don't have to do that. I don't want to do that anymore, for sure. Every time I see myself dancing with fear, I have to come back and reel it in and realize I don't want to dance with fear, and I'm sovereign. I can do that in my now moment, exclusively in the now. Now is eternity. Now is a 0-point field. Now is when you have access to the quantum field. You have to be now. And when you're now, you're here now, and you can let go of that resistance and feel through that and really just be present now. in a neutral place, and squeeze that now moment and relish that now moment and just like really vibe into that now moment. Again, it starts with surrendering and then just really be present in that now moment. There's no words to explain it. You will feel the God force energy inside of your whole body. You really will. When you can really just squeeze that now moment and realize that you are a creator being. You are a child of God. You are source incarnated. It's really amazing. So, I've known, many spiritual teachers, and even myself, like I've thought about it, I've said it, I've wrote it down so many times. Now. You have to be present, you have to be now, And I'm still always amazed at what I continue to learn and observe about the now moment. So I just felt like that was worth bringing up, because it's all too easy, and I do it too, to be unwittingly sucked out of your now moment. And that's how we've lived our lives. Again, it's part of that mind control. It's like I said before. It's really clever, these little archons, to trick creator beings out of being in their now moment by all these programs that keep us rooted in the past and scared about the future. Very, very clever, because all of our power is exclusively in the now. But when we're in the now, we have everything. We're in the quantum field. We literally are multidimensional. You really start to feel your multidimensionality when you are in your now. Really amazing stuff. Really amazing stuff. Because, going on to my next point, truly creating in the quantum field. And again, it's a matter of coming into your now. Again, letting go of that resistance. And just be gentle with yourself. Don't, there's nothing wrong with you. I think that's another thing that humans get caught up on, is they beat themselves up so much. And oh, there's something wrong with me. I shouldn't be feeling this way. Like, I'm getting worse. Like, again, watch out for those narratives, because those are lies, You're a creator being. And you're healing. Again, every time you get triggered, every time you feel those things, one, it's an opportunity for you to shift and heal that trauma that's coming out of you. And two, now you have a more refined vision of what you want to create, because when you really know what you don't want, you really know what you want. When you really know how much you don't want to be struggling for money, you really know why you want to live in abundance. Just one example. And living in abundance is an example of your vibration. It has everything to do with your vibration. So this is what I really want to get into. It's so amazing when you realize that you're a creator sovereign being that creates in the present moment in your now from the inside out. It's very, very exciting and fun and empowering, because you realize you don't have to struggle in this physical world anymore, because the physical world is the matrix, is the reflection, it's a hologram, it's a game. We're still in it. We're multidimensional. There's different layers to our being. And we are one. We are whole, of course. There's no separation. And this is a raising consciousness. This may seem abstract, but we're going to start to see it more and more. It's truly amazing. Sorry if that's loud. My neighbor just started the lawnmower. But this is the exciting and fun part. In the physical world, we have all these steps and sequences, and step 1, step 2, work your way up to the top. You have to struggle to be abundant. You have to struggle to be healthy. You have to struggle, you have to just, and it takes forever, and it's all this effort, and you just have to push yourself and force everything. And yeah, that's the paradigm. That's how you do things physically, right? When you create from the quantum realm, it's completely different. It's completely different, because you're literally tuning your vibration into the timeline you want to attract. And I really want to explain this because I don't know if this sounds abstract or if you know what I mean, but it's really simple because it's designed to be simple, and I've experienced this many, many times, and now I just feel like I got a more glimpse into what it is. It's a 0-point field, the now moment. If you can be present and squeeze that presence and be and raise your emotional magnetism, because that's what your emotions are. They're magnets. So if you're in fear, or you're going to attract more fear. If you're in joy and gratitude, if you're in gratitude, you're going to attract abundance. That's just how it works, because in the quantum field, those are the signals you're giving off. And that's why, when you're feeling fear, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't be afraid that you're feeling fear, because then you're afraid of being afraid of being afraid, and you're looping. It's fine. See, that's the thing. It's fine. I'll let it be. It's fine. Surrender. Feel it. Let it go. You're good. That's all it is. And again, this is all a divine algorithm. All we have to do is really get out of our own way. So as I was saying, in the physical world, you have like step 1, step 2, step 3. You have to work your way up to the top. Everything seems so far away. And you can do it that way. You can change physical matter with physical matter. Eventually, you're going to get your energetics aligned through the matter that it will manifest. But this is the hack. This is using the command line. This is literally getting to the root of who you are and being able to create your reality as a sovereign, multidimensional creator being. It starts with presence, of course, and surrender and letting go. And really, it's a matter of your thoughts and your emotions. So, like Joe Dispenza has said, and I think this is a really good way to describe it, your thoughts are electric and your emotions are magnetic. So your thoughts create. No matter what, your thoughts create. So when you have thoughts, and it can be a visual, it can be an intention, it can be a knowingness. It's very simple. It's very simple. You don't have to overthink it. That's the monkey mind. It's not about that. It's not about overthinking it. It's about creating with the mind. That's all it needs to do. Everyone's different. Some people are more visual. Some people are more just like cognizant. Doesn't matter. And the more you practice this, the better you'll get, like anything. We're having to practice this again and again. And this is a big part of how we be sovereign and we create our reality. And we don't be pushed around by the external anymore. So you hold that intention. You can do this with anything. Just an example, abundance, financial abundance. So you hold that intention in your mind, and you can get as creative as you want with it. You can be as general or as specific. The more you hold it, the more specific you're going to get abundance. It's an idea. Being secure, having money, paying things off, buying those things you need, buying the things you want, whatever the case is. Everyone deserves abundance. And the only reason people don't have abundance is because of the mind control, because of the fear, because people don't feel worthy, because people associate abundance with being wealthy or greedy, all kinds of blocks that may be. It has nothing to do with the physical world. It has everything to do with your vibration and your own programming. So as you hold that intention, you begin to cultivate gratitude. So again, that's the electric, that's where you create it. But until you can actually cultivate the emotion, it might just be a thought. And if you're thinking about being abundant, but you're feeling lack, and you're feeling fear, and you're feeling worry in your now moment, and you're not facing that feeling, and you're just letting it loop, and you're just come back to the present moment. And again, I talked about being able to feel that and release it. So simple. You have the internal guidance system. You can do this. And then this is the magic part, beginning to cultivate gratitude. And that's our work. That's the real work. When you're creating in the quantum field, that's the work, 100%. It has nothing to do with step 1, step 2, step 3, trying to change physical matter with physical matter. It has nothing to do with that. Because the more you align energetically, it's literally like tuning a radio station into the timeline of infinite timelines. You can tune into that with your focus, with your thought, and with your emotional guidance system, you feel your way to it, because the vibration always precedes the manifestation in the physical world. The physical world is reflecting to you. This is the matrix. It can be fun when you master this, and you will. If you're cultivating gratitude, and depending on where you are, it could take a minute, it could take a day, it could take a week. Don't beat yourself up about it. Again, we're healing that trauma, and that's meaningful work. And you're clearing not just for yourself, but for the whole collective when you do that. So that's amazing work. Good for you. That's what we came here to do. As far as I can understand, that's a big reason why. And when you cultivate that gratitude, and gratitude is just the start, once you can really cultivate gratitude in your now moment and be present with your gratitude now, no matter what's happening physically, because you're in the quantum field. So again, multidimensional, we're in this third dimension, which is reflecting back our energy, but we're also in the quantum field where everything already is. Everything you could ever want already is. There's no separation. So the more you can tune into that, and this is 5D consciousness, and trust that and have that knowingness and continue to be present with that again and again in every now moment, not just when you're meditating, but as you're going about your day. Again, this is our real work. It might seem abstract, but I hope it makes sense. This is our real work. And as you do that, you'll start to receive inspired impulses. It's the best way I can find to describe it. You'll start to feel inspired impulses to act upon. So that could be anything, It's not like you have to force yourself these physical things, or like force yourself to do these things physically. When you can align, it will just happen. And if you have ever manifested anything, you know that it happens in ways you don't expect. Someone literally might just decide to, tip me $100, or someone might just decide to donate to me, or someone might just decide, I might just happen to land myself a random gig out of nowhere. Someone might call me out. That's just how it is, and I'm just using the money example, but this is true for everything. It's always like that. That's how the divine things is. It's not in the physical world where the ego and the personality want to control it. It's releasing that, and there's a lot of trust involved in being present and cultivating higher emotions in your field in every now moment. And keeping that focus. And again, it's not the end of the world if you slip and you feel, lack again. Again, don't beat yourself up, because then you start looping again. Just feel it and let it go. You're fine. You're getting better every single day. You're only progressing. We all have triggers. We all have these things. And when you let go of that attachment, and that's a big thing too. That's a big part of this whole thing, is like that physical attachment. Let go of that attachment, whether it's attachments to your fears, attachments to your dreams, attachments to your desires. Those physical attachments will anchor you down. Just let them go and flow and trust, and know that it's already done. Whatever you're creating is already done. And I promise you, the more you practice this, the more you will see, because I've done this for a long time. Long time. I've created many, many things. Everything I have created has come from this, and still, I have to remind myself. Again, it's not that you're not taking action, it's that the action comes from a higher place when you're aligned. And you hear that inner voice, you know it, you see it, it just happens. Again, there's a lot of trust involved. And again, this is our real work, because I know it's not easy to be trusting and faithful all the time when we have all this programming of like needing to hold on and control. But you really can and are worthy of all of your dreams. And we can all do this, and we all will do this. And it's only going to get better and better. You wouldn't have these dreams if there wasn't a purpose for it. You wouldn't have these in your heart. You wouldn't have these calls if there wasn't a reason for it in the quantum field. There's a huge difference in vibration. Really, it's a fine line between wanting and longing for something and knowing it's already done. and you work your way. You cultivate gratitude. So, start to feel that gratitude in your present moment in that zero field, letting the quantum field receive that broadcast, that transmission. Everything is energy. Everything, emotions, thoughts, creations, it's all energy. Keep it simple. And every single day, as you practice feeling that in your now moment, and we're getting better and better at this, you will see it reflected in your life, and you will feel that gratitude begin to go from feeling pretty grateful to feeling so grateful to feeling just joy in your heart. And then you're a magnet, and the more you can sustain that higher consciousness, and again, don't beat yourself up when you get triggered, it's fine. It's just another opportunity to get even higher. That's all it is. We're evolving. It's amazing. We're not regressing, we're progressing. If that's your belief and that's your intention, then it is. And you will literally, your heart's like it's a amp. It's like an amplifier. The more you cultivate that gratitude and raise that vibration, you will be a magnet for your dreams, and you will begin to just flow and know and have this trust that you create in the quantum field. You don't have to struggle physically for financial abundance. You don't have to struggle physically for harmonious relationships. You don't have to struggle physically for anything, because you're in divine flow and you're creating in the quantum field. You're quantum jumping. That's what it's called. That's what some people call it. You're literally tuning into the timeline you want, and you're feeling your way there from the inside out. You're seeing it, you're perceiving it. That's the point of the third eye. It's like a steering wheel. And then you're bringing it towards you, the magnet. You're feeling it. You're being able to feel it, and you will tune into that. It's amazing what we can do. Whether it's healing, creativity, learning a new skill, having a new relationship, having an off-grid homestead. I think a lot of us have that, in the back of our head. There's not a coincidence for that, and there's no rush either. So that's the thing with linear time. Only in linear time is there a rush. Linear time is tricky. I think a lot of resistance comes from linear time, from this lack of trust, from this lust, from this, again, there's a different vibration in wanting something and knowing it already is. Because if you know it already is, you're already whole, you're already complete. There's no lack. And there is no lack. There need not be lack unless you choose to dance with that lack consciousness. And it is a choice when you know. Again, that's the beauty. Those are some of the most powerful things that we have now, is remembering we're sovereign again and again and again. Sovereign. We are sovereign. We choose. When we make the unconscious and conscious, and we see in our own individual reality how we've been dancing with fear, sometimes we don't like it, but if we can take responsibility and be like, oh yeah, I've been feeding into that, let me choose otherwise. It's a beauty when you see it, because then you step out. And making the unconscious conscious is another way of saying the veil is lifting. We're seeing more. There's nothing wrong. We're literally seeing things that we've never seen before, because we're having biological upgrades, and you can tap into them like no other. You can be in the 5D realm really anytime in your now moment. Only in your now moment can you tap into the 5D, but when you're present, you really have so many opportunities to shift. It's so exciting. It's so beautiful. I really wanted to share that because, I don't know, I've just been thinking about the quantum field a lot. It's been really coming up, and I've been really playing with it and experimenting with it, and just blown away by, wow, even though I've been doing these kinds of things for so long, it's become more and more clear that this is how we create. This is how I create. This is how I want to create. So thank you so much for listening. I hope that was helpful. I know this is kind of long. I really just have to come on here and flow. I never really know how long it's going to be. But I like to explain it as much as I can, because this is powerful information. And if you really understand this, and if you really can get this and practice this, then you have everything. And you really tap into that wholeness, that oneness. We are one. There's no separation. There's no separation between you and your highest dreams, no matter what it may be. If you don't believe there's a separation, then that separation is healed. And this is our work. This is the real work. Again, it's not step 1, step 2, step 3, and I'm going to ascend and I'm going to have my dream job, And you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. And we are multidimensional. So if you feel like that's part of your inspired impulses, then by all means do that. We are multidimensional, but I'm just saying when you can align with it energetically, that's the acceleration. That's where it all begins, is inside of you. And being able to understand these techniques of jumping in the quantum field, jumping into the timeline you want. So again, really amazing information. Definitely something to remember, I think, and if you feel called, then keep practicing. Because this is also not only helpful for us in creating our dream life, which we are worthy of and we deserve, but this is also shifting the collective in many ways. Because when you're creating, you're inevitably also having to heal yourself. You're having to face yourself. You're having to overcome these more dense consciousnesses of the fear and trauma-based mind control that's caused us to be weak and sabotage ourselves in every way. Now we're letting that go, and we're seeing, and we're choosing otherwise. We're choosing love. This is love. This is self-love. And when you love yourself truly, you help others to love themselves, and we help to love each other. It's all one. So also when you're coming from your highest self and you're really thriving is when you're able to help people the most, because you're leading by example. And people will see you and what you're doing, and they'll want in, when they see how happy and healthy you are, and how, glowing you are, and how, whatever the case may be. We really lead best by example. So again, I hope this is helpful. I love you all so, so much. I really do. Thanks for being here. Thanks for everything. And I hope you have a beautiful day.